Andrew Tate. Yes, Andrew Tate. The internet's chin-stroking, cigar-chomping philosopher of questionable life choices. A man whose online persona screams alpha, yet whose real-life predicaments increasingly scream international legal farce.
He's a purveyor of get-rich-quick schemes and opinions so spicy they make a ghost pepper seem like a mild cucumber. And like any discerning connoisseur of controversy, he apparently decided his portfolio needed a shiny new passport just as things were getting a little complicated. You know, normal Tuesday stuff for the global elite. Picture this, December 2022, Romania. While many were hanging festive lights, Romanian authorities were busy with a different kind of decoration, handcuffs. Tate and his brother found themselves in pre-trial custody, facing some very serious allegations. We're talking human trafficking and rape, not exactly the kind of charges you can just shrug off with a motivational Instagram post. It's the sort of trouble that makes one long for, say, a swift change of scenery, or perhaps a swift change of nationality. One that isn't, shall we say, so keen on extradition. Enter Vanuatu, a picturesque Pacific island nation famous for its stunning beaches, active volcanoes, and apparently its remarkably accommodating development support program. For a mere $130,000 chump change for a man who flaunts Bugattis, you too can become a citizen. No pesky residency requirements, no difficult language tests. Just wire the funds and bingo, you're practically a local. It's citizenship by investment, or as some might call it, desperation-driven document shopping, a real bargain for the ethically flexible. So, while Mr. Tate was enjoying the drab decor of a Romanian detention center, his application for Vanuatu citizenship was incredibly still processing, and in January 2023, like a punchline to a very dark joke, his brand new Vanuatu passport was issued. Yes, issued. The timing couldn't be more perfect if it were scripted by a satirist with a penchant for the absurd. One imagines the courier knocking on his cell door. "Special delivery, Mr. Tate. Your escape hatch has arrived, Oh, wait.
Let's imagine this passport, shall we? We'll call him Vanu. Vanu isn't just any passport. He's a passport. Gleaming, embossed, reeking of offshore bank accounts and hastily packed luggage. Vanu probably thought he was hot stuff. "I am Vanu," he declared to the other, lesser documents in Tate's possession. "I represent freedom. I am the key to dodging those pesky European legal systems. I am slightly damp from being smuggled in, but glorious nonetheless." He'd probably have his own tiny sunglasses. Vanu, in his metallic-edged dreams, saw himself being flashed at private jet terminals, whisking his new owner away from any unpleasantness. He envisioned a life of sun-drenched beaches, far from the prying eyes of prosecutors. "Romania?" Vanu would scoff. "Child's play. They won't know what hit him. Extradition treaty? Ha! That's for passports that don't cost 6 figures, peasant. I am the Rolex of travel documents, the Bugatti of booklets." He probably practiced his smug, officious rustle in the mirror.
The reality, however, was a rude awakening. Upon arrival, or perhaps upon Tate's lawyer brandishing him optimistically, Vanu discovered that Romanian prison guards were remarkably unimpressed. They didn't swoon at his golden hue, they didn't tremble before his alleged power to bypass international law. Instead, they probably just grunted and pointed at the bars. Vanu's boasts about being a get-out-of-jail-free card echoed hollowly in the stark reality of a system that, surprisingly, valued actual charges over fancy paper. Even a passport needs to respect the local customs, poor Vanu. His grand debut was less triumphant escape and more evidence item A. He probably sat in an evidence bag, bewildered.
But, the brochure promised, he'd whispered to a stray paperclip.
The harsh truth dawned. Perhaps being issued to a man already in custody for serious crimes wasn't the best start to a glamorous international career. His dreams of tropical cocktails were replaced by the grim reality of legal briefs and the distinct lack of sunshine, a truly tragic tale for a piece of gold-leafed cardboard.
Back in Vanuatu, the mood was likely less tropical paradise and more tropical panic attack. Imagine the scene government officials, previously basking in the glow of easy revenue, suddenly choking on their kava. "He did," one might exclaim, spilling coconut water all over the citizenship approval's rubber stamp. The internet misogyny guy, the one accused of, how did this slip through?
The air would be thick with the smell of singed reputations and the frantic shredding of potentially embarrassing paperwork. The official line, of course, was one of dignified concern. Kiri Manassa, a government spokesman, assured the world that Vanuatu was looking into it and aimed to revoke Tate's citizenship if necessary, because naturally, Vanuatu doesn't want to grant citizenship to individuals with questionable backgrounds. A truly shocking revelation, that one.
Meanwhile, the Citizenship Commissioner had previously noted that cancellation usually only happens a guilty verdict. Awkward. One imagines a very tense passport trial for Vanu, where he pleads his case. But I'm so shiny.
Adding to Vanuatu's woes, the European Union, in a moment of spectacular timing, decided it had had enough of these golden passport shenanigans. In late 2024, they revoked Vanuatu's visa-free access to the EU bloc, citing security concerns and the of its citizenship by investment scheme. You could almost hear the collective groan from Port Vila all the way to Brussels. It's like throwing a party and the biggest guest suddenly decides your canapes are a security risk. This EU smackdown must have been particularly galling for poor Vanu, the passport. Here he was, dreaming of whisking Tate through Charles de Gaulle, only to find out he himself was now persona non grata in Schengen City. The irony! A passport designed for seamless global travel now facing more restrictions than a budget airline ticket bought during a flash sale. Vanu probably started to suspect his $130,000 price tag might have been slightly inflated for the services rendered. The end for Vanu was swift and, one hopes, rather unceremonious. The Vanuatu authorities, under the glare of international scrutiny and perhaps a sternly worded letter from the EU, eventually did the inevitable. Tate's citizenship was revoked. One pictures a solemn official with a very large void stamp bringing it down with theatrical force. Perhaps Vanu let out a tiny metallic shriek, or maybe he just sighed, resigned to his fate as a footnote in a very bizarre chapter of internet infamy.
My legacy, lost in the U-bend of geopolitical expediency. Tell my story.
They say the passport was then flushed away. Metaphorically, one assumes, though the image of a golden passport spiraling down a government toilet bowl is undeniably satisfying. His final destination, the great septic tank of revoked travel documents, a place where bad decisions and expensive mistakes go to mingle. Of a watery grave for a document that once dreamed of private jets. The humor in all this, of course, is that the whole Vanuatu loophole was never quite the masterstroke it might have seemed. While Vanuatu doesn't have a formal extradition treaty with Romania, it have one with the UK, and guess who else wants a little chat with Mr. Tate? Yes, the good old United Kingdom, with their own set of rather serious charges. So even if Vanu had managed to spring Tate from Romania, another queue was already forming. It's like escaping one bear trap only to step immediately into another.
And so, Andrew Tate remains entangled in the legal webs of Romania, with the UK patiently waiting its turn. His Romanian case was even sent back to prosecutors for a bit more seasoning. The saga is far from over. It's a legal drama with more twists than a bag of pretzels. A true to be continued, if ever there was one.
Vanu the passport may be gone, but the consequences of the actions that led to his brief, inglorious existence linger on, much like the smell of cheap cologne in a very expensive car.